Hi everyone, with Valentine's Day just around the corner, I'm going to show you how to stitch up my Book Lover embroidery pattern. This is beginner friendly and features some simple stitches alongside some fun 3D elements. I've listed everything you'll need to make this in the description, so let's get stitching. We're going to start by stitching the book in backstitch. I'm using 2 strands of black embroidery thread for this, and I'm just going to work my way around the outline and stitching the pages. So now we've completed stitching the outline of the book, I'm going to fill the book jacket using long and short stitch using pink embroidery thread. I'm using 3 strands of thread here to fill this narrow space. So the book is very nearly finished. As some of the pages are curved, I just want to give them a smoother finish. So I'm whipping through 2 strands of embroidery thread to turn this into whipped backstitch. This isn't something that you have to do, but I just want to give them a little bit of a smoother finish. So now I finished stitching the book, it's time to add the felt hearts. Now I've marked these up on the pattern with these lines showing where I'm going to stitch them. And to keep with the Valentine's Day theme, I've got 2 lovely vibrant colours. So I've got this lovely bright pink and this lovely red. So to cut the first heart, I've just cut myself a smaller piece of felt and I'm going to cut the first half of the shape of a heart. There we go. And now I'm just going to fold this in half, and to try and get it matching on both sides, I'm just going to cut around that first half. Hearts can sometimes be a little tricky to get even, and I've just found this is the best way to achieve this. And here we go, here's my first heart. So I've just tidied up the edges to make sure it's got a nice smooth finish. And to give it the floating effect, I'm just going to fold it in half and just press firmly on the middle to create a crease. So this design has 4 floating hearts all together. So I've cut them all out ready. So I've got these just here. And now I'm just going to get them ready to be stitched on. So I'm just going to fold them in half and create that crease down the centre to create that lovely floating effect. I've chosen to use craft felt here, which folds quite nicely, but if you're struggling to form a crease, I find it helps to attach these fabric clips and leave the hearts for a little while. It then gives you a nice sharp crease. So I've got my floating hearts ready, and I've also cut out some other hearts which we're just going to attach flat onto the fabric. Now it's time to attach the hearts. So I'm starting with the red ones, and I am using 2 strands of red embroidery thread. So I'm just going to separate this out now so that it's ready. We're going to attach the hearts. So I'm going to start with the biggest heart. So I've just placed this on the fabric in line with the pattern, and I'm going to attach this using a small series of running stitches. So I'm going to start by pushing my needle up through, there we go, and then I'm going to push my needle back down through the felt and the fabric, and that's creating our first running stitch. Now I'm going to repeat this again, just moving down the centre line, pulling that needle up through, and then I'm just going to push it back through, and that is going to hold our heart in place really nice and securely. Now just moving down that centre line, I'm just going to add 2 more stitches, and you can see here, because I'm stitching down the centre, it's keeping that nice 3D effect where the edges of the heart are standing away from the fabric, just like this. And then I'm just going to repeat that method for the rest of the floating hearts. So for the 3rd red heart, I'm just attaching this flat to the fabric. So all I've done with this is stitch a series of running stitches around the edge, and that's going to hold that in place. So we're nearly finished. The final bit of stitching is adding these little stars. Now I have got 3 strands of pink thread to keep with the Valentine's Day theme, and I'm just going to stitch these using straight stitch. So it's a 5-spoke star. There we go, so that's our first spoke stitch, and then I'm just going to work my way round clockwise, just adding the rest of the spokes. So now I've stitched all of my stars, I can see just from where I transferred the pattern, I've got a couple of pen lines, just some hiding here under the hearts as well. So I'm going to remove those just before I back the hoop. And to do this, because it's a heat erasable pen, I'm going to use my little mini iron, and I'm just going to run this over some of the stitches where I can see I've got visible pen lines. So my favourite way to transfer an embroidery pattern is to trace it using a heat erasable pen. If you haven't already seen it, I do have a video on my channel showing how to prepare a hoop. The reason I like this method is because it's really easy to remove any visible lines afterwards simply by using heat. So say for example here I'm using my mini iron, or you could also use a hairdryer. See, look at that, it's so easy to remove them. So here is our finished hoop. I've backed this using my favourite method. You can find a video over on my channel showing you how to do this. If you would like to stitch up this design, you can find the pattern over in my Etsy shop, either as part of my Valentine's pattern bundle or as an individual pattern. I've popped the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Happy stitching.